Hi, I'm Rohit, and thank you so much for watching my videos. Today we're going to talk about the connection between divine love and soul love. Now, it's a really interesting topic because most of us have been in love at some point or other, and we love that feeling of being in love. We felt it in the beginning of our relationships, and then we've struggled to keep it alive. And if it's kind of faded out, then we've tried to revive it, or we've gone and looked for someone else. But how about, would you like to feel it always? With your partner, or even when you have no partner? All of us want to love and be loved. But the current paradigm of romantic love and soulmate love is based on lack. Yeah, there's only one soulmate out there, and you've got to find that person, and if you lose them, it's over. And then there's fear. Yeah, lots of it. How about if we could explore the key, the pillars, the secrets to abundant love, unconditional love, ever-expanding love, fearless love, and intoxicating love? That's what we're going to talk about today, and stay with me. To start with, we need to break a myth that's been around for a long time. I call it the soulmate myth. We've been told that there is only one soulmate, and that we have to find this person somehow magically. There are 7 billion people on our planet, and despite all the spread of the internet and despite all the dating websites, it's not easy finding someone out of 7 billion people. It's crazy, in fact. And then let's say you do find this person. You have this great chemistry and this wonderful relationship. And then over time, you lose it. Now you've lost the one person who was supposed to be it. And it's devastating. Where will you ever find that again? What if no one will ever love you again? What if there is no other soulmate? These are the questions that plague most of us. I don't know about you, but I've been there. I had to search, I had to find, I had to discover, I had to go within, I had to go through a lot to be able to come up with the answers that I'm now going to share with you. Every time I felt love, it's been amazing. Every time I felt this is the one, and then something happened and it died. Is it possible that the concept of soulmate love that we've been given or sold is false? Perhaps the concept of romantic love, as I've studied it, I've begun to understand that it's just a fairy tale that's been woven by people. Going back a few hundred years, it's not always been part of our society. It's not been part of human beings. It's a relatively new concoction. And the test and the proof of it is it's not working so well. 50 to 60% of people are getting divorced, having affairs. It's in a mess. And so I set out to explore solutions. What is love? I started with that basic question. I wanted to get to the root of it and find the raw nature of love. I began to research the great love stories, poems, and scriptures. And the common theme that I found is this idea that love lies within us, within our soul. That our soul is actually a particle of God who is the source of love. Now, in the Bible it says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love." If God is love, then what is this thing we've been told about a judgmental God who punishes people? I know that when I'm judgmental, I don't feel very loving. And when I'm loving, I don't feel very judgmental. I kind of gloss over a person's flaws. I see the best in them. So how can someone be the source of love and yet be judgmental? This question just never sat right with me. There were so many contradictions in these ideas. And then I came across Shams Tabriz. And he writes, and he's the mentor of Rumi. He writes, How we see God is a direct reflection of how we see ourselves. If God brings to mind mostly fear and blame, it means there is too much fear and blame welled inside us. If we see God as full of love and compassion, so are we. So perhaps we've invented our own version of what God is. Perhaps we've concocted certain things based on our own nature. Well, to find real evidence of this, whether what he's saying is true or whether the scriptures are saying is true, what my own sense of it was true or not, I figured out the real experiment was to have an experience. How would I experience God? And so to understand that, I learned that I had to go within. That wasn't easy either. Through meditation, through various other practices, I learned to quiet my mind. And I learned to experience the soul that is within all of us. This soul is known to be a particle of God, and what I felt within it was an absolute peace, an absolute feeling of a lightness and aliveness, and yes, love. And this love, if I really stepped into it, was absolutely unconditional. It was always available. It didn't require a partner. It was something that filled me, and I began to feel all around me. So that to me was proof that some people have been giving us a very different picture of what love is, and I wanted to explore that even further. Rumi said, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." I believe what he was saying by that is that the entire presence of God is present within your soul. You are not just a tiny little being. You are experiencing the divine or God within you, and within you lies the proof of who God is. If we start with the idea that God is love, interesting. The Bible says God has created everything. The Vedas say God is in everything, in everyone, as well as the light, as well as a loving, beautiful, non-physical being. All right, what if God is non-judgmental and unconditionally loving? What if God is beautiful and adorable? That makes it all really, really juicy and exciting. What if God loves us and wants to be loved by us, but has given us free will to accept or reject him or her? Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because love can't be forced. So there has to be free will. I can't force someone to love me, so how can God force us to love God? There had to be free will to accept or reject. Got it. What if, when we fall in love, we're actually falling into God or experiencing God? What if love is God? As I went further into that, I began to look at the school of Bhakti, which is part of the Vedas, the school of the yoga of divine love, Bhakti Yoga. It talks about love or divine love as the greatest love of all. It talks about its ecstasies and its rapture. It shows us the stories of Radha and Krishna that are supposed to be God incarnate, and how beautiful and attractive God is, how wonderful and fascinating love of God is, and how natural and effortlessly we can experience this greatest love of all. Rumi writes, "I desire you more than food or drink. My body, my senses, my mind hunger for your taste. I sense your presence in my heart, although you belong to the world." Now, a lot of people think Rumi writes about a lover or his lover, but it's very clear from this. I sense your presence in my heart, although you belong to the world. I don't think he's talking about any human lover here. He's talking about God. Rumi goes on to say, "Because of your love, I have lost my sobriety. I am intoxicated by the madness of love. In the garden, I see only your face. In trees and blossoms, I inhale only your fragrance. Drunk with the ecstasy of love, I can no longer tell the difference between lover and beloved." You see, this is a kind of oneness that arises in love. This is the oneness we seek, and Rumi finds it with God. Does it mean, therefore, that we should go into that paradigm that says we should renounce the world in our search for God? No, that was an old paradigm. Let us instead discover the true nature of love, and then see what to do about it. When I wrote my book, Loving Soulfully, I came across a lot of amazing ideas that were being written through me. I had asked God to answer my questions. After all, if he could speak to all the people in the past, maybe he could speak to me too. So the answers I got were just absolutely fascinating and amazing. And here's a little piece from there. Love is God. Love is the universe experiencing itself, the beloved wooing itself, the divine communing with its essence through the hearts, eyes, and bodies of lovers. Love is God enjoying the unique melody of your beloveds, savoring their soul, relishing their beauty, arousing their passion, making love to them through you. Love is the source of all that is, adoring, worshipping, and making love to you through endless lovers across infinity. Behold love's delightful magnificence. This led to a tremendous awakening, a tremendous realization that perhaps love is not some perfect person. After all, when we meet some perfect person, we think this is the one. And then we go on and somehow it dies out, and maybe this person leaves us or we leave them, and then we think we'll never love again. And then we find another and we say, this is the one. And we keep repeating this time after time after time. But what if the one is God? What if love is not some perfect person, but love is the energy of God? And that God loves us through our lovers, and we love God through them as well. In other words, whether it's your cat, your dog, your child, your friend, or your partner that you're in love with, what you're in love with is the presence of God within them. And what they're in love with when they love you is the presence of God within you. What if all of us are lovers? We have been looking for the one true love. The one is love itself, or the energy of divine love. After all, humans will hurt, leave, betray, and die. But divine love, or the love of God, will not. I've tested this. I've seen it. And I've seen that this love is with me always. It never fades. It never seems to vanish. It's always there waiting. I might get busy. I might get distracted. But this feeling of love that is within me is always there. Always there. Radiating out. Wanting for me to experience it every moment that I'm ready to go there. So what I've learned from this is that love is by its nature eternal, blissful, unconditional, and free. That's the nature of the energy of love. It has no agenda to control, possess, exploit, or manipulate. Rumi writes, "With my beloved, I play the game of love. If I win, he is mine. If I lose, I am his." In Loving Soulfully, I wrote, "No one can be your one true love. No one can complete or fulfill you. No one can be the right one for you. The one you seek is the source of all. The one true love who will never forsake you, never hurt you, and never break your heart. Seek not the one who will be all and everything for you. Seek instead to love the one within yourself, the one in those you hold dear, the one in everyone. Love the one in all, and the all in one." That might seem a little confusing, but let me explain it to you. When I write, love the one in all, I mean love the divine in everyone. That way you can look through their flaws and get to the soul, the heart, the best part of them, and love the all in one. The all is the universe, God, source, in everyone. Rumi writes, "In your light I learn how to love. In your beauty, how to make poems. You dance inside my chest where no one sees you, but sometimes I do, and that light becomes this art." When we allow this divine love to move through us, it manifests and expresses itself in the most incredible ways. We become the best of friends. We become the greatest lover. We become the most wonderful poets and writers and painters and musicians. I wrote Loving Soulfully with no idea what I was writing. It just came through me. People have liked it. It is not me that writes. It is the divine writing through me. It is God expressing through me. Consider that possibility, that if we make ourselves available for God to work through us, to love through us, how much more incredible would be our experience of love? And how much greater would it be if we would be able to receive that love from others and open our hearts without fear, without the fear of being hurt or wounded or abandoned. If we could know that love was going to come to us always, that even if one lover left us, love would come back to us through something or someone, no matter where we opened our heart and however we allowed it to come back, it would keep finding us. Love would keep finding us and coming back to us again and again and again. Why is this? My experience of love is that love is everywhere, is in everything, in everyone. In the ancient Vedas, they call that Brahman, the energy of the universe. We all know that everything is made of energy. What if this energy is divine energy, the presence of the divine in everything, the presence of God in everyone, everywhere? If that is so, then love is all around us. We must find it within ourselves first, and then in nature and in all creatures. It's easy to find it sometimes in our pets. And then in those that we come across, and those we love, and then finally in everyone. Is it possible that everything we love, not only everyone we love, but everything we love, maybe the food we love to eat, or the wine we like to drink, is God coming to us through these things, loving us through these things? Imagine if it is God that is loving us, then even the atheist is a lover of God. The foodie, the drunkard, the sex addict, the music lover, the materialist, without realizing it, are unconsciously lovers of God. When we come to this idea of abundant love, we're able to experience ourselves being in an abundant ocean of love. Love is all around us, and we become free from the feelings of lack and fear that have been spread by the ideas of romantic and soulmate love. As we find love everywhere and with everyone, we fulfill what Christ talked of in the Bible, to love your neighbor as yourself. See, it all comes together if we're willing to open our hearts and minds. The key caveat here is don't try to own love. Don't try to control it or sexualize it necessarily. As you love the creation, you will find yourself falling in love with the Creator. Love is abundant. In Loving Soulfully, I wrote, "Love longs to break free from the prison walls of rules, conditions, emotions, rituals, religious and social institutions that have stifled her for thousands of years. Love is free like the wind, abundant like the air, and resplendent like the sun. Love is all around you, in everything and everyone. Like the wind, love caresses every part of your body. Like the air, she infuses every cell of your being. Breathe her delightful energy into you. Fill yourself with her ambrosial presence. Allow yourself to soar on the currents of infinite love. Allow her to take you to places you have never imagined." Rumi writes, "The one I love is everywhere." And he says, "Be drunk in love, since love is everything that exists." Be drunken in love, for love is all that exists. Without the dealing of love, there is no entrance to the beloved. When he says the beloved, he means God. In another poem he writes, "From the beginning of my life I have been looking for your face, but today I have seen it. Today I have seen the charm, the beauty, the unfathomable grace of the face that I was looking for. Today I have found you, and those who laughed and scorned me yesterday are sorry that they were not looking as I did. I am bewildered by the magnificence of your beauty and wish to see you with 100 eyes. My heart has burnt with passion and has searched forever for this wondrous beauty that I now behold. I am ashamed to call this love human and afraid of God to call it divine. Your fragrant breath, like the morning breeze, has come to the stillness of the garden. You have breathed new life into me. I have become your sunshine and also your shadow. My soul is screaming in ecstasy. Every fiber of my being is in love with you. Your effulgence has lit a fire in my heart, and you have made radiant for me the earth and sky. My arrow of love has arrived at its target. I am in the house of mercy, and my heart is a blaze of prayer." What if we could understand that love is our true identity? That we could become one with love, filled with abundant love, having so much love to give, that wherever we go, we bring love. If we were to make love our identity and purpose for living, we would become an embodiment of love. In Loving Soulfully, I wrote, "Love is who you are. Make love with everything and everyone. Make love with your eyes, nose, ears, words, and touch. Make love with your mind, heart, and body. Make love with everything you do. Make love your God, your religion, and your meditation. Make love your priority, life purpose, and reason for living. Make love your inspiration, ecstasy, and passion. Make love your greatest possession. Make love your true identity." So taking these ideas as we come back to the idea and revisit the idea of soulmate love, we realize that we need a new foundation to understand what soul love or true love is. When we have that true experience within ourselves by connecting with our soul, by breathing within and coming to that essential part of ourselves, we will be able to recognize soul love in a partner, and we will know how to nurture it in our relationships. We will be able to find those partners who most resonate with us. And when we do, we will find that love will blossom and bloom with them. In the next episode of this series, I'll be talking about the 7 pillars of soul love: acceptance, presence, honoring, playfulness, change, surrender, and freedom. What we've learned till now will form the basis of this new paradigm of soul love. So please stay with me. Keep coming for these webinars. Give me your feedback, your comments. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know your thoughts, your experience, your realization, so we may walk on this journey together. I am nothing special. I am nothing great. I've been exploring just as you are. I need your help and your support as much as you need mine. So let's work together and collaborate in exploring the greatest love of all. Thank you. I love you and know that I am here for you always. Please ask any questions that you might have. I would be very, very glad to answer them. And I'd love to know what you think. What are your experiences? What are your beliefs? What is your understanding? One of the questions that I get a lot is, I don't believe in God, or I believe that God is an energy. And to that I'd like to say, please, stop believing. It's a valid question to ask someone, do you believe in Santa Claus? Now that's something worth asking. But would you ask somebody, do you believe in sunsets? Do you believe in, let's say, India or America? Or do you believe in, something that we've all experienced, clouds, sky, the earth? And I think the question is redundant because these are things you've experienced. You've experienced sunsets. You've experienced the sky. You've seen it. You've experienced the wind, right? You've tasted food. So to ask you if you believe in it is quite ridiculous. And so in this world of believing and not believing, we've missed the main point. We need to actually experience. We need to experiment. So the ancient Vedic system was all about that. It was about do the experiment upon yourself. Do the meditation, do the process, and go within yourself. And you will experience the presence of the divine, the presence of God within you. Then reach out, and you will experience that same presence everywhere in the world. Then go further and experience it within all creatures. You will find that it's there in the people you love, and as you go past that, beyond that, you'll even find it in the people you hate. The presence of God is in everything. It's like a fish, who's in water and who asks, where is water? What is water? I've never seen water. We are swimming in the energy of this world. There's energy all around us. That energy is the energy of the divine, of God. And if God is everywhere, and if God is love, then this energy must be a very loving energy. And I invite you to experience it. Don't believe me. Don't believe anyone. But experience it. And once you've experienced it, you too will say the same thing. I'm certain of that. After all, I don't think spirituality needs to be a belief system. It is very scientific. The problem is, if you believe or you don't believe, you're still a believer. Like the atheists don't believe in God. Well, that still makes you a believer, a non-believer. But you're still not performing the experiments and actually coming to conclusions based upon evidence. So, other people, someone else raised the question, I believe that I am God. Now, once again, I can believe I'm Superman. I can believe that I'm, the king of the world. But that's not what matters. I believe that I'm God. So, well, yeah, you can believe anything you like. But there is some truth to it. There is some truth to it. There is a particle of God within all of us. And to that degree, yes, it's true. But you are not the entirety of God. You are like a drop of water from the ocean. But the ocean, the drop of water doesn't have the majesty, the power, the depth of the ocean. But it does have the taste of the ocean, so you can taste the presence of God within you. And to that degree, yes, you can experience God within you. And to that degree, you can claim, yes, I am God. But it's not just that I am God, you're God. The whole world is filled with God. And to say that God cannot exist beyond the world, well, that's another far cry. Again, how can we limit that? Some people say, well, the world just happened with a big bang. And I say, really? You have the evidence? Were you there? Have you seen it? Did you see what happened? Can you replicate it? Can you create a model of that shows that the world can be created with a big bang? I don't think so. No one's been able to do it so far. And what I do know is this, that when anything's created, it takes intelligence. Right? You look at your smartphone, you look at your house, you look at your clothes, anything, right from a needle or a pin all the way up to a skyscraper. They all took somebody very intelligent to create them. Nothing comes from nothing, right? So in that sense, if we say that this world was incredibly designed, the ecosystem, the way our bodies function, the perfection with which they, even a degree or two off on our body temperature and suddenly we're not feeling well, but the entire design is so perfectly orchestrated. that behind perfection, behind that there has to be intelligence. It doesn't happen by random accidents. How to experience it? How to feel it? That's a great question. Thank you. See, the one thing that stops you from experiencing God is your mind. This is the alternate reality. The mind is the alternate reality. And within you lies the ultimate reality. So this mind creates a reality based on its thinking. As you think, so shall you experience the world. As you believe, those beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions are all part of this. And this keeps you distracted. It keeps you immersed in the world. So the only way is to step away from the mind and learn to quiet it. And that's where meditation is extremely handy. I find that I don't need an elaborate system of meditation. I simply require to breathe and become aware, bring my awareness down into my body, follow the breath as it goes in and out, and become aware of what lies within my body. Step out of my head and step into my body. Now, yes, that might be easier said than done. But I can tell you this, that if you practice using various techniques, including mindfulness meditation, including any other kind of meditation, mantra meditation, or any other process that helps you focus your mind. Essentially, meditation was not a process. Meditation meant focus. Dhyan. Dhyan was the original Sanskrit word. Wherever your focus is, that's your meditation. If your focus is on the outer world, then that's your meditation. If your focus is on what you're thinking, then that's your meditation. Or your emotions, that's your meditation, how you're feeling. But if your meditation comes and goes, if it goes within your body and it follows your breath, you will tune out of the mind by following the rhythmic flow of your breath. Once you're there, you'll experience certain things. And most people, when they close their eyes and go within, they experience a peace. That peace is the first contact you're making with the soul, with the presence of God within you. So the first thing you know about God is peaceful. Just like when you taste a drop of water from the ocean, you know it is salty, right? Or if you taste a nice candy bar, you know it's sweet. So the same thing. And then as you stay with it longer, hang out in there longer, you begin to notice its other qualities. It's spontaneous, it's kind, it's compassionate, naturally. It is loving, it is wise, it is spontaneous, it is free, it has no worries, it is childlike, it is playful. So many things. And in our next webinars where we talk about the 7 pillars of soul love, I'll be exploring this even further. What are the qualities of the soul? Because unless you know your soul, you will not know God. Unless you know your soul, you will not know how to love a soulmate, or how to nurture that love, or how to keep it alive. So it's really vital to be able to experience this first step first. Some people say, well, God is an energy, or the universe. And I say, that's wonderful. That is true. God is everything, so God is the universe. See, the Vedas break it down to 3 parts. God is in everything, in everyone, and yet separate from it all. And the separate part is the light, and yet a being, a beautiful, gorgeous, delightful being that in Bhakti they will call Krishna, and in the Sufis they will call the beloved. How can the infinite be restricted to a being? That's a big question, right? But think about it. Today we have smartphones. And these smartphones tap into the infinite, well, almost infinite internet, which is millions and millions and millions of computers and phones connected all over the world. Now, if you talked to us 100 years ago, this would have been thought of as impossible. 50 years ago, it would have been thought of as impossible. How could one little thing like that be connected to millions of computers all over the world? Impossible. So that's just how we are with our limited thinking. Think of the idea that God is a being is an ultimate act of miniaturization. That which is everywhere manifests itself as a being so that you may relate and have a relationship. And that relationship is a relationship of love. That relationship of love is known to be the greatest love of all. And it is for that love that we're exploring this idea. This has been experienced for thousands of years, all the way from the gopis and Krishna, all the way before that, when you come to Ram, when you come into more recent time, the Sufis, and Christ himself, talking about the only important commandments are to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, with all thy soul, and in the same way to love your neighbor as yourself. He said this is the only things that matter. All the other commandments can be forgotten. So when you look at that, when you look at this ancient model that has been around way before the recent ideas of romantic love, we begin to realize that there is a greater love. And what I believe is that greater love forms the model for our relationships in this world. We need an archetype. We need something that gives us a standard, like a gold standard, of how to relate in this world, how to love ourselves and how to love each other. But if we haven't got that standard, then anyone can sell us any bill of goods, any kind of thing that they come up with. So you have novelists writing about romantic love, you have movies talking about it, and it's got such a huge failure rate, 50 to 60% of failure. I wouldn't buy a product that had a 50 to 60% failure rate. Within a short time, if you say my computer, my car, my whatever could break down, I'd be a little hesitant to go buy it. I want something that's going to last. We all dream of eternal love. We all want a love that is everlasting. And in reality, what we're getting is a love that is there for now. You can't count on it. You can't be sure that it's going to last. And even if you do find the love of your life, it often dies out into some kind of companionship, friendship, familiarity of some kind. And that real high that we got when we first fell in love, we're not able to maintain it. So that's why I've been looking deeper to find deeper teachings and meaning of love. I hope that that is useful for you as well, because now we're going to take that and bring it into the relationships. That's going to get even more exciting. But this model of divine love serves as a true testimony of what is possible, right? We need that. That's what's called an archetype in Jungian psychology, at least. The archetype sets up the role model, and it gets us started in a certain direction. If there is a God, then why is there so much suffering in the world? Yes, Buddha tried to answer that question. Christ offered salvation from the sufferings of this world, and even Krishna said it, that I will free you from all karma and all sinful reactions. Just surrender unto me. So they've all been trying to help us get free of suffering, and I'd like to offer my little take from my understanding, is that suffering was built into this world. Yes, we were born, we went through youth and became young and beautiful and energetic and lively, and then we got older. Our bodies were designed for obsolescence. They were designed to get old. They were designed to die. So along with our birth, our death was also created. It was a planned obsolescence, as they say when they design products in this world. And that planned obsolescence was for a reason. It was that this body was not meant to last forever. This body was not meant to experience the ultimate highs and joys of the world. It was there to provide an alternate reality, which is then created by the body and the mind. That alternate reality is a choice to love God or hate God, to come towards God or go away from God. For us to seek love, and as we seek it in this alternate reality, to realize that it's not possible, and that where it is possible is as we come towards God. And where it becomes possible with our human partner is when we bring that God relationship into our human relating with each other and with our partners, and even with our children, even with our pets. That unconditional quality of love, that quality of love that is not about what can I get from you? How will you fulfill my needs? How will we, or about meeting some goals of getting a house and a car. It's not about using or exploiting someone. It's about pure love. And that's the lesson that we learn as we connect with God. And that's the lesson that we've come here to learn. This world was designed to help us understand a greater love that was possible. So to give us an alternative, in other words. The other part is much of the suffering that we have is actually created by us. Somebody speaks badly to you, you get hurt. You eat badly, your body gets upset and goes through pain and suffering or cancer or disease or whatever else. We don't take care of ourselves. We treat others badly. We treat ourselves badly. And then, yes, stuff happens. And then we blame God. We create wars and then we say, why are there so many wars? We create all kinds of problems for each other because we're selfish by nature. And then we blame God. That's not fair. That is absolutely not right. Yes, there are both sides to the equation. There is human suffering that we create, and there is suffering that was inherent and inbuilt into the design. So both aspects need to be looked at. We need to take responsibility for our part, and we need to look at why the original design did call for some amount of suffering in this world, mainly to wake us up, to give us the option, the freedom to love or not to love, because love can't be forced. That's what I believe. And then by giving us that alternate reality to reject or to accept, to love or not to love, that allows us freedom to choose. Is the suffering a lesson we are supposed to learn? Actually, suffering brings about many lessons. And if we're willing to introspect and discover the true meaning of what that suffering is. So for example, if I'm eating badly, it's causing me to suffer, I need to change my diet. So that's a learning. If I'm finding myself fighting with my partner, I need to introspect. Instead of blaming my partner, instead of accusing them, we blame everyone. We blame the partner, we blame the world, we blame God. But blame doesn't help anyone, not even blaming yourself. That also doesn't help. Introspect instead and say, what am I doing to cause this suffering to go on, for us to be fighting like this, for us to be, arguing or in conflict or for our love to diminish? What am I doing? For each person to introspect. So the lesson really is introspect without blame. Introspect as to how am I contributing to the problem and what can I do differently? Because as you think differently, as you act differently, you're going to find that you will change the circumstances in your life, right? So that's the lesson. The lesson really is to look at how you're contributing and what you can do differently. It's also sometimes to look at the bigger picture. Sometimes we get caught up in our microscopic world, our worldview, my thinking, my emotion, me. And maybe if I stop and I look at you and what you're going through, then that might be the lesson for me. So yes, there are certainly lots of lessons for us to learn. I sometimes refer to this world as the university of the universe. Gary Zukav, I think, called it Earth School. But I also see it sometimes as a roller coaster ride. It's got its ups and its downs, and we need to be able to be okay with that, because that is the very nature of this world. There is childhood and youth, and there is old age. There is disease and there is well-being. There's all kinds of, duality here. This is the world of duality. And we don't want duality because we are souls. We don't want to live for a short time. We want to live forever. Where does that impulse come from? The desire for eternality comes from our soul. Where does the desire for love come from? If we are just physical organisms with cells and, stuff like that, then why do we look for love? Why does everybody look for love? Because love is the nature of our soul. We are looking for ourselves. We are looking for that very thing which lies within us and which we want to experience everywhere. But if you look for it in the world, you're not going to find it. If you're going to let your mind construct some ideal partner who you're going to then love, and with all your conditions, and then if they fail those conditions, you're going to leave them, well, that's not love. So the basic thing is the search for happiness, the search for everything that comes from the soul. That's what I've noticed. everything we desire ultimately comes down to the inner search for who am I? And when you find who you are, you will also have found who is God. See, people can tell you that God is judgmental and critical and punishing and sends people to hell, but I think they're just making up this crap. Because I know from the God that I experience within, the particle of God that is within me, that there is no judgment here. There is no conditionality in the love here. There is no suffering in here. That's there. That's in the mind. That's constructed by humans. So let's not go around blaming anyone. Let's learn these simple lessons of life and navigate our way through this world. If we keep repeating this, if we keep repeating the same things, then how are we going to learn? And you know what? That's the beauty of the creation, is we are given free will. Free will to mess up. Free will to keep repeating our mistakes. Free will to be able to do as we please. Guidance is given. The teachers have been coming in through the centuries, right? You see Krishna coming as God. You see Christ coming as the Son of God. You see various teachers and gurus and spiritual guides coming at different times to help us. And despite that, we still want to do our own thing. So hey, why not? We've been given free will to do that. We are given chance after chance, life after life, to keep trying our own way. Do it your way. But ultimately, those who have come to the deepest realization say, as it said in the Bible, "Thy wilt be done on earth as it is in heaven." In other words, they surrender. Krishna says, just surrender unto me and I will deliver you. From all sinful reaction, do not fear. From all karma, do not fear. So yes, we'll mess up. But the act of surrender frees us from our karma, frees us from our past mistakes, because it was known we're going to mess up. It was known that we were imperfect and that we were flawed and that we would not get it right. And we would take us a while to get there. However long it's taken you to learn those lessons and however many times you may have repeated them, come back. Come back to the truth that has been taught over the ages, the truth that lies within you, whether you believe anyone else or not. That truth lies here. The evidence lies here. And when you learn to listen to that inner voice, it will always guide you on the right path. It will always enlighten you. It will always give you wisdom and truth. That voice is not the voice of your mind. That voice is not the voice of society. That inner voice is the voice of clarity, the voice of peace, the voice that comes with no conditionality, and it comes from a place of love. So the ultimate lesson is to be able to tune into that, to listen to that, and be guided by your inner voice. Some call it the conscience, some call it the presence of God or Paramatma within us, or the voice of your soul. However it is, it will come from a place of peace. If you are trying to analyze and figure things out, and if this, then that, suppose this, then it's not coming from that voice, it's coming from here. So that's the ultimate teacher, the ultimate guide. It's the presence of God within us that guides us and shows us how we can live our lives. And yes, we can read the books, and many people will say, well, this is the only way. And I tell them, you know what, you're welcome to believe that your teaching is the only way. And the truth is, I personally have been inspired by every teacher that have come across, whether that is a Sufi, or whether that is a Christian, or whether that is a Hindu, or whether that is Buddha. Every one of them has given me some piece of the puzzle. And ultimately, where I came for the deepest understandings was within myself. So I find that there are those who want to follow one person and one teacher, and that is perfect. Please do that. In fact, if you look at it, that is the way of teaching. Every parent, every teacher says, don't listen to anybody else, listen to what I'm telling you. It's true. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. It's perfect. I'm just a little weird. And I like to be an eclectic, and I like to take the best from everyone. And it's helped enrich the tapestry of my soul. It's enriched me to learn from everyone and everything, from every person, from everyone who I meet. I try to learn from them. I know that the world is my teacher. Every person I come across is my teacher. I know that I don't know. I know that I am foolish. I know that I mess up. This much I know. Socrates said, to know that you do not know is the greatest step to knowledge. So I follow that simple idea and stay open as a blank canvas to learn from everyone. I encourage you to try that out. You might find yourself learning a great deal. At the same time, I see this in spiritual people today. It's easy to get distracted on many different paths. Oh, I'm into crystals, or I'm into astrology, I'm into this, I'm into that. Try and stay focused on the core issue. What does it take to enhance the connection with your soul, and what does it take to enhance the connection with God? My suggestion to you is to stay focused on that idea, because personally that level of focus is what has helped me grow, because I then could weed out all the other things people were saying that weren't relevant to that. And I think that once you have got that really clear within yourself, you're going to find that you can progress on the path of soul love and soulmate love in a way that is more real, because now it's experienced within yourself, and even with self-love, because yourself, your soul knows how to love you in a way that no one ever can. So all of these things all come together in this one beautiful place that is within you. From here you will learn, and you can also then take from everywhere else. I encourage you to do that. Stay open, stay vibrant, stay alive, because we are here on a fascinating journey, and it's an adventure. Let's join together, let's collaborate with each other, let's support each other. I know that I don't have all the answers, so I would love to learn from you. I would love to learn from what you've learned. I would love for you to share that, for you to comment, for you to subscribe to my channel and other things that I'm doing. Participate with me, join me on this path where we bring about a deeper awareness of love, and we bring about a revolution of love that is much needed in this world today, where we're struggling with hate and division and separation from each other and doubt and fear and all of that stuff. We need to replace that with love, and true love at that. Not just the words, oh, I love this and I love that, I love ice cream and I love this. We use love for everything. But what I mean is true, authentic, unshakable, powerful love that penetrates through all the hate and anger and division that is around us in the world today. So I'm going to end here. Thank you so much for joining me, and please be there for the next few episodes. I think we'll do 2 or 3 more, in which we're going to discuss the 7 pillars of soul love. You're going to find really fascinating things coming up. So please be there to ask your questions for the live webinar, and I look forward to seeing you. I wish you a wonderful day, lots of love. Just know I love you and I am with you, and let's do this together. Take care.